Well, hello. Happy Hot Topics. It is Thursday, 4 p.m. Yesterday, I had no energy. I took the day off, blocked Wednesday off. Felt kind of wiped out. Felt like I had a little bit of something. I don't know what. How's everybody doing? Cheers, everyone. No sound. I've got sound over here. Oh, Joel, check your sound. So we are together again. You, me, and everybody else. It is Thursday, March 9th. We are all in one place. I mean, virtually. We have not blown the planet up yet, and that's a good thing. I went shopping today. I'm on a frugal kick for the month of March, paying off that great trip to Mexico. So now I've got to live on beans and rice. Yes. The poorest of the poor diet, making polenta and beans, and it's been a lot of fun. So my household budget, does anybody ever do this where you have a rough idea of what your household budget is? That would be like your groceries, your cat food, your toiletries, stuff you use to clean the kitchen, everything you pick up at the grocery store. So it's not just your food, it's everything, the cat food, the cleaning supplies, etc. So I had my household budget at $350, which some would say is it's probably the national average for a single person, I think. But I think if you go organic, you might go up on that. If you give up animal products, you'll drop, right? If you're doing rice and beans, for sure. So this month I dropped it from $350 to $250, and let's see if I notice a drop of $100 from my monthly budget. So I'm doing what's called a low spend March. As you can see, some of my allergies are back again. Every time I visit California. That's $250 for a month for one person and a cat. So that is your food, your toilet paper, shampoo, cleaning supplies, your cat food, your cat litter. $350 a month. And that is with a delivery service. If you don't drive, right? But you don't have to do a delivery service. If you live close to a grocery store, could you do it? You could do $350 a month. So it works out to be $250 a month. Excuse me. Sorry. It would work out to be about $250 a month for your, give or take, maybe a little more for your groceries, and then about $80 for you, your cat, house cleaning supplies, and everything else. Like if you need a postage for the mail or some Comet to clean the bathroom. So if you're looking at the poorest of the poor, they have $30 for food a week. Which, so one of the reasons I like to do extreme frugal challenges is to, first off, be able to eat, excuse me, to be able to eat with the majority of human beings on the planet, right? So I made some polenta. I had a bag of polenta, runs for under $4. So I made it doesn't take a lot to thicken it with a little salt, a little bit of olive oil, and you cook it down. You thicken it, you layer it out. Then I put some black beans I had cooked and made them from dry. And you can cook celery, carrots, onions in that for extra veggies. It's interesting because, and then you can make it vegan, or if you want to add a little cheese on top, you can. You can make it a Mexican style, an Italian style, whatever floats your boat. What I like about making these kinds of meals is not only does it teach you how to prepare humble food, if you're learning how to cook rice and beans, so that you can eat like the rest of the world. The rest of the world is eating this type of food, so we're all eating the same way. It's better, excuse me, it's better for the environment, it's better for the pocketbook. So I think my cat gets, there are ways I could have dropped it below that. I could have, my cat could be getting cheaper cat food, right? There's the $7 Purina pseudo healthy, but I'm not going to do that to her. So the price now has shot up to $26 for her groceries a month. And then you do about $11 to $15 a month for her kitty litter. But could you do it? Could you do the challenge of $30 a week for food? You can use what you already have to start with. If it's from like the 99-cent store, excuse me, don't mean to be coughing into the microphone. Yeah, eat your way through the pantry. One of the things that Kay and I have done is we've gone to discount stores where rice and bean is pennies. Excuse me. Honey, I love you. My cat is making me sneeze. All right. So I'm having coffee with some melted chocolate. What are you all having? Anybody having anything interesting? Yeah, I mean, just the excuse me, I might have to end this. I'm still not 100%. That's why I took yesterday off. Yeah, I mean, just the whole idea of being able to cook from scratch, a humble meal, looking at your budget, taking control over your finances, it can move you away from a feeling of helplessness to a feeling of, I've got this. They did give me a bunch of Allegra-Joel. Y'all know about my allergies. This is why I left California. Well, I was in California, and then I didn't feel great. I worked Tuesday. I took yesterday off. Who is this Skeptic Brian I keep hearing about? Is that your husband, Marjorie? Skeptic Brian? I'm getting better, Geocosmic. I think I caught something on the plane coming back. I want to do, I know what we have to do. We have to do the remote views. Yeah, something on the plane, and then the allergies are kicking in again. I can feel it, my nose running. All right. So I think there's enough of us that have got here. PG bill was $328. That's insane. Got to be a way to take care of that. Oh, Skeptic Brian is your hubby. Very nice. Lemon water helps. What has really helped is brushing my cat, because I think 80% of my problem is Ismila. This time of year, I can't have her. It just, she just sheds a lot, chunks of hair, and right before spring. But yeah, I'll probably have to take Allegra. All right, so let's talk about remote views. I think we've got enough people. I don't know what it is, but I know that I've got the Allegra. I don't like using Allegra though because it makes me feel like I'm on drugs. Those are insane amounts for electricity. Well, I think it's a good skill to be able to live simply and frugally, because what if something should happen to you? But if you know how to prepare um, polenta and tomato sauce with a little ground turkey, or cannelloni beans if you're doing a vegan Italian, you're never going to starve. You never have to be afraid. And you discover it's pretty good food. It's not bad. And that's my prayer for people, particularly at this time, because one of the things that happens as remote viewers is we can get into the whole fear tactics with people, where everybody is freaking out about what's going to happen tomorrow. We have no control over that. I know we wish we could. We have no control over Putin and what he is going to do. We can tell you what we see as remote viewers, that the guy is broke, broke, broke. There's no money. They didn't anticipate this. They had no budget had no war budget to anticipate the disaster, the quagmire that's Ukraine. And who's going to give them money? China? Everyone keeps talking about how China's anxious. I don't see that. So we have a lot to talk about in terms of remotes. So first remote we're going to be talking about has to do with a remote view I've done on Homeland Security and the FBI. Is everybody ready for the remotes? You are, right? Okay, so when I went into, sorry if I misspelt that. So the first thing they want to talk to you about has to do with the fact that there has been a series of meetings, research, and the findings of that research have been delivered to the to the Senate, to their security teams in the House and the Senate. So here is what the security report says. According to the security report of Homeland Security, the FBI, and DOJ, the biggest threat to America's security at this time, according to Homeland and the FBI, is threat to national security is domestic terrorism. So that is what this is looking like when you go into the remote. So this is a very serious conclusion from the findings. So the two things threatening our democracy and the stability of our country, they said, was domestic terrorism was the first thing noted by Homeland and the feds. And the second was too many firearms on the streets and in the hands of the wrong people. So those were the two things. That was the conclusion from Homeland. So where are we headed now as a result of this? Well, the result of this is that we have people that are in organized militia that are a threat to the federal government. What do we call that? If someone has a well-organized militia and guns and weapons, and they've declared war on the US government, what are they? They're terrorists, right? So if the conclusion from the researchers, the people that do crime research, if they come in and they give a report to the government, if they speak in private hearings in the Senate and the House saying that America's greatest security is its own citizens, and its own citizens armed to the teeth, what do you think that's going to do with the future of the country? So we follow this energy further, and the message we got back is that the FBI is monitoring militias that are known as hotspots throughout the United States and possible economic ties that they may have to foreign actors hostile to the United States. Two main states that could be seeing money funneled from foreign governments to prop up these militias included Texas and Florida. So basically, what the DOJ and Homeland are saying is that our threat is not the Mexicans. The Mexicans are coming, right? It's not the Russians. It's not North Korea. The biggest threat is our own citizens becoming militarized with weapons, declaring war on the country. And so when you follow this energy, you see that there are these pockets of activists in Michigan, right? We've talked about Michigan being a hot spot. We've talked about Pennsylvania, that in Allentown, that area, we saw a particular a military cell. So now some of these military cells are being arrested. And this is a huge topic that's going to be coming up in the coming weeks and months, is that we're going to start seeing the DOJ being more aggressive about arresting and prosecuting these individuals. And about the fact that these hotspots have been linked to foreign actors hostile to the United States and following their money. Also linked, of course, we've talked about this, to propaganda trying to divide up the states, just like the Soviet Union was divided. So what we're going to see in the coming years is they are going to systematically try to get rid of these militias. It's interesting to see the Republican response, right? Because the Republican response is, it's an attack against the right wing. Well, if you are at war with the American government, then yes, you could say that they're at war with you. So this is something that we can look forward to seeing a lot more of, really making its way into the coming months. This desire to normalize the United States, and that means these crazy people marching on the Capitol being drug out to God knows where. It's got to be happening on your end. I don't think it's happening on my end, Joel. There's no buffering. Who said there was buffering? Oh. All right, so the next thing, the next remote we had, ooh, I just saw some beautiful sun come in, has to do with the future of North Korea. Does anybody want to talk about North Korea? One of the things that's come up is, did Kim Jong-un die from COVID? Did one of his cousins or relatives take on his role? Did he miraculously recover? And now he's come back to the fold, being as menacing as ever. Well, regardless, the energy is looking like there's more and more of a rift between the Kim family and the North Korean military. So North Korea, yes, they're starving. They are literally starving to death in some areas. We could see a collapse of the Kim dynasty when the North Korean military takes over. So in this scenario, the North Korean military takes over. It enters into a coup, a private coup with the South Korean government, with the South Korean military. And during this military coup, which is cooperation between the South and North military, the Kim family would attempt to flee North Korea. You know, they could go to Russia. They have stayed in Switzerland in the past, went to school in Switzerland, probably go to China, probably go to Vietnam. So it looks like if this type of coup happens where the North Korean military attempts to take over, then the Kim family would be forced to flee. And if they were to, if leadership in the North Korean military were to do that, they would do that alongside the South Korean military. In such an event, the Kim family will attempt to flee. A secret plot could be developed between North Korean military and an open surrender to the South, forcing leadership to flee. China's response to such a collapse of the military, openly surrendering and then going after the Kim family, could cause pressure to rise on the border between North Korea and China, but it's unlikely that China would go in if it's an attempt by South Korea and North Korea to unify. So that was an interesting remote. So basically they're saying the most likely way that North Korea will collapse is with unification, and it's probably going to be promoted by the North Korean military surrendering to the South Korean, and they're probably going to agree to attempt to arrest the Kim family, which may attempt to flee or would be under house arrest or something like that. So I thought that was very interesting. They won't be allowed into Switzerland again? Interesting. All right, so the next remote we have has to do with Mitch McConnell. As many of you know, Mitch McConnell suffered a concussion. He was at, I believe it was a hotel somewhere. He slipped and fell. This is not the first time that Mitch McConnell has slipped and fallen. He has had some slips and falls in the past, including 2019. There have been other evidence of falls and injuries. His hands looked deeply bruised. I think it was last year. We do know that he's 81 years old. He does have, evidently, excuse me, something of a medical past history of various different health issues. I feel like he's possibly on platelet medication. This can happen with AFib. As we get older, we may have an irregular heartbeat. Try to refresh, Mueller, Bob, because I don't think other people are having a buffering problem. This is the second concussion since 2019. When I go into the energy of this individual, it looks like we could see him experiencing mental decline. Yeah, so I'm seeing I'm seeing cognitive decline happening very rapidly for Mitch McConnell, and it could potentially force him to resign. So it's actual mental decline, partially due to medications that he is on. So he must be on medications that lower cholesterol, etc. Maybe a past history of diabetes type 2, but whatever it is, seems to put him at risk for mental decline. Like I said, I know there are some pharmaceuticals on the market. There may be a higher risk of Alzheimer's with statin medications, for example. I'll have to go back and fact check that, but I believe there is. But this looked like possibly mental impairment, possibly due to medical treatments and pharmaceuticals he was on would most likely cause Mitch McConnell to have to step back. I pet my cat. That was a mistake. Yeah, it's not just about slipping and falling. It's I'm feeling cognitive problems with Mitch McConnell as well. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer. Then we will blitz, blitz, blitz away, unless my cough gets the better of me. And then I have to call it quits. But let's do some blitzes. Does that sound good? Do we have blitz? Do I have the order? Do the empath's prayer. Oh, good. Glad you could stay. Be grateful. Hi, Melissa Miller. Blitz, blitz. Please use red question marks if you can. I can tell I'm going to have to take some Allegra. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. I think Rick Scott is in a lot of trouble. And I guess it came out, one of the things that I talked about a couple months ago was that I felt that Rick Scott, that the feds had gotten a hold of some stuff and that there had been whispering taking place about Scott and that he was in serious trouble. So it doesn't surprise me that they took his computers and stuff, because that's exactly what the remotes showed, was that the feds were confiscating people's devices, computers, etc., even if it's not public information. Didn't surprise me at all when that came out. Is the Department of Justice planning another coup? You mean, are they concerned that there will be another coup? Not that they are planning the coup, but let's see about future coups. It looked to me like, based on that first remote, that they were really not going to, they were taking domestic terrorism very, very seriously, and that these people were going to get taken off the street. There's a reason why some of these domestic terrorists, like that woman they're looking for right now, who she's in hiding. Several of these people have gone aground. They've got bunkers in the middle of Eastern Oregon. The feds are not messing around with these people. These vigilantes are terrorists, and they're a threat to the country, and they're going to really hit them hard in the coming years based on this energy. Oh, you mean Donald J. Trump planning another coup? Oh, I see your question. Sorry about that. Well, he is the lead. 58% of Republicans choose him as the candidate for the, 58% of Republicans as the candidate. So what does that tell you? Well, he's going to start seriously taking this candidacy serious, and we're going to start seeing him traveling at the states and trying to muster up support. So yeah, he's back on the campaign trail. I'm going to predict that he's back in southwestern United States in the coming weeks. Donald Trump could be going to those states where he barely lost, like Arizona, or places where he won, Texas, in order to fuel support, because you have the Ace of Cups. This guy is seriously going in. Knight of Wands, indicating a southwestern travel direction. I don't think DeSantis is a good debater. I don't think if DeSantis were to debate Donald Trump would eat him for breakfast, just by making a fool of him and getting people to laugh at him because that's his style. But his opposition has lovers and magicians, so his opposition is in a pretty strong place. His hopes and fears. You know, it's funny, in a way, he feels protected by this administration more than he does by certain people in the Republican Party. It's interesting. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. I think that Trump is one of those people who he becomes so old in the end, if he does wind up under house arrest, which is probably what will happen. Nobody will care. It's just an old man having to serve out his time at Eric Trump's house or something. It's there's no justice in it, and that's frustrating for a lot of people. All right, so this question is coming from Joel, and he wants to know about DeSantis trying to drive Disney out of Florida. Can't believe that people are okay with this. Why is he angry with Disney? I can never figure that out. I have no idea what that's about. Oh, DeSantis trying to drive. He thinks that they believe that Disney is a political force. They believe that it's almost like a political force that has political power in Florida. That it is institutionalized and that it has institutionalized power. So we do know that they tend to vote Democratic. But I would say, yeah, whatever's going on with him and Disney, he's pretty at war with Disney. Because Knight of Swords is like attacking. The other is trying to be reasonable with him. Hopes and fears. He's really going after Disney. Look at that meticulous, refusing. Yeah. They're basically saying that DeSantis will destroy himself. His crazy policies, his increasing crazy ideas of eventually take DeSantis out. He self-destructs because of his own crazy. That's how it will end. Angry, violent, unstable. The tower is over DeSantis. It's like others are looking at him like he needs a psychiatrist. The other is logical, the emperor. Exchange of ideas. The hopes and the fears. Is this guy even rational? I mean, Ten of Wands carrying the heavy load, mastery over the business, Two of Swords. Yeah, there's something off with DeSantis. I mean, his thinking. I think that it almost looks like Disney is shocked that anybody would even think to come in and try to rip up their institution from the ground. They've been in Florida for how long? They've been a friendly mom and pop, major money coming into Florida, and they've been there for decades. So to have somebody declare war and literally try to rip them out from where they are just seems very odd to Disney. Like, is this guy serious? Has he lost his dang marbles? So it does look like Disney is such an institution and it's so powerful with those cards and with that Knight of Swords, which is about anger and rage and tower, that if anything, he's only going to create problems for himself down the road, but I don't see it impacting Disney. It's probably going to blow up in his face. Yeah, Disney is very pro LGBTQ. Well, that makes sense because, I mean, come on, they do so much musical theater. I mean, Broadway musicals, they're all Disney, like Beauty and the Beast and all that good stuff. So, yeah, so if they were anti-LGBTQ, I mean, that, of course, they're artists, musicians. A lot of the people that work for them are going to be LGBTQ. So they understand that. And everything was going along swimmingly. And so I think there is this feeling that DeSantis has lost his. It's just not rational. Why would you go after, declare war on a major company that's worth billions of dollars that brings in massive amounts of tourism to your state? It's such an insane thing to do. Yeah, his behavior does not appear rational, and it will probably not bode well for him. Oh, he wants to go after Linda Hepburn says he's going after anybody that disagrees with him. Maybe, maybe there's a kind of reactionary, but that energy over him looks like he's going to implode before anything. Mickey Mouse set a trap for DeSantis. That's very funny. I feel sorry for Floridians too. But you also go into the energy of the DOJ when we did the remote, that they were looking at these military cells with communication with terrorist cells in Eastern Europe. I mean, come on, this is crazy. And one of the main states where there's money coming in from foreign governments and maybe there's some drugs involved, etc. The two border areas where we see that are Florida and Texas, right? The Texas border, it's a lot of illegal crossings, also concerns about drugs getting through, etc. And then you also have a similar problem in Florida with drugs coming in through the water. So it becomes also interesting to see, is something going to come up about economic, business opportunities through the mafia? How are they funding all of these shell corporations and stuff that end up the money getting traced back to the militia, etc.? Might be foreign money. All right, let's do another one. Well, I would never want to go to war with Mickey Mouse because that is a pretty powerful institution in the United States, don't you think? I mean, if you're going to go against Mickey, you'll have to accept a fight. Hello, life is a mindset, Lorraine. Thank you, everybody, by the way, who renewed on your memberships. We got a couple new memberships. Much gratitude. Thank you, everyone, also who is supporting me over at Patreon. That's much appreciated as well. Wear a mask when I brush her. I got to do something. This happens. Well, it happens every year. Excuse me. So it's not as, I mean, yeah, when I was in LA, it was so bad I couldn't talk. So But, last year I think I started taking Allegra, and then I took one or two, and then after that I didn't have to take it for the rest of the season. So maybe I'll do that again. All right. So I'd be curious. We haven't looked at Texas for a while. So Texas was one of those cases of just pure crazy, wanting to secede from the Union. Secede. What else do we know about Texas? Illegally forcing immigrants onto buses and planes and sending them to other places. Let's see what we got going on here. Let us see. Texas lawmakers. What is the future of Texas? Are we going to start seeing stability or more? See, because I feel like Homeland is taking it really seriously. These militias and these threats. It is the number one threat to the federal government right now, is that, and too many guns. There's too many guns out there. Texas economy looks very strong. So it's not like they go belly up. We're not seeing Detroit over Texas, where Dallas becomes like Detroit because business goes or something like that. What they're saying here is that financially, they're going to diversify and do very well for themselves. They're probably going to diversify towards the wind, solar economy, etc. Truth and power coming for them. Look at that, quick. Strong. Ace of Swords. Looks like a very strong state financially. They are having problems with the feds, though. Look at this, courts coming in to get their wish. They want to have rights not to be under. They're fighting the feds. They're definitely fighting the feds over the next year. There is something about their immigration policies, what they can and can't do. They are going to have to go before a judge. Their policies are going to have to be transformed. At the same time, the feds have to recognize that the burden is on border states. So there's a legitimate cooperation. How this will work out is that the feds understand that California, Texas are border states that deserve certain rights, economic supports, etc., to deal with the fact that they are states with high immigration. Right now, nothing is happening. Have to go before a judge or wise person. Hopes and fears, heartbreak for Texas. Final outcome, Texas will be transformed. I feel like they're going to side with the right of Texas to move people to other states for absorption, because it's either that or they're going to have to pour a lot more money into Texas. Texas is going to be okay, though. Their financial future looks excellent. Sunny days lay ahead for them. Look at that, 6 of Wands, victory after tears, and the sun is their final outcome, and the courts will support them. So what they're saying is, if we lose this much money every year attempting to absorb this many thousands of people, and then you tell us, no, it's not real, and then we have this, and we don't have the economic resource to absorb these many immigrants, so therefore we feel that other states should carry the load since you don't have the same number of immigrants coming to your state, then objectively speaking, the federal government would say that's a legitimate argument. Whether we like Texas politics or not, they look solid in the coming years, and some of their right to send immigrants outside of Texas for absorption seems to be upheld by the states, unfortunately, for people who don't support that. No, the ban on morning after pill will not succeed. This is starting to fall into dangerous It's starting to fall into some dangerous categories. Uh, for it doesn't bode well for women's health. But I'll go ahead and take a look at that because well, it's taking away a lot of power from doctors so that the regular person can decide what some woman's health care is going to be. Some random stranger because they have a feeling about it as opposed to her doctor. So that's pretty scary. Banning of the morning after pill. I'm not feeling it. They could be facing problems, these states, with going beyond their rights as states. So they're overriding, they're testing federal powers. No, women's health, the whole thing with abortion is going to fall apart state by state too, with new legislation. It will fall to the states, but then the states are going to become liberal again, because you have things changing very quickly. As early as this April, we could be positive changes. The opposition, so the right to choose comes with strength, good health, hopes and fears, a rigidness, a refusal to work with the opposition. Situation will be transformed, mastery. I don't think so. I don't think that they'll be able to stop women's right to the morning after pill, not with those cards. Not gonna happen. All right, let's look at Eric Prince. He's been awfully quiet. Why isn't he in prison yet? Let's take a look. Walgreens is kicked out of California. Why is that? Interesting. What's going on with Eric Prince? Well, I mean, he's defending his right to have a security company. He's saying there are security companies all over the world. He seems to be okay with this. It's a security company. He doesn't feel like anything he's doing is illegal. He feels like he's on the right side of history. Lots of private companies do security there. Israel has several private security companies. They supply security for the Vatican, for example. So he's feeling pretty confident. High Priestess, that he's in a position of power. Six of Swords, marching into victory. Hopes and fears that his whole entire thing will be taken out. Proof of to defend himself. So if he has to defend himself legally, financially, he will do so. Yeah, so he's basically saying he's protected. So I don't see Eric Prince going off to prison, unfortunately. Yeah, strong position. He's very protected, he feels. Just a security firm. That is how he feels about it. I know. So unfair. What's all this stuff about Walgreens and won't shop at Walgreens? I don't know. I might be missing some. Oh, Newsom is upset with Walgreens? Interesting. Oh, it's Walgreens? That's oh, let me look at that. That's pretty interesting. Walgreens is refusing a woman's right. Okay. Let's take a look. That seems, why not? What do they care? What's going on with this seems weird. Walgreens. God, you guys are teaching me something. That's weird. Walgreens, it's a private company. They have a right to sell whatever they like. That's their argument. It looks like it's a religious group that owns this company. This almost looks like Seventh-day Adventist. Is that who they are? Very health conscious. Almost looks like a Christian church that's health conscious, like Seventh-day Adventist when you look at this energy. They don't feel that as a personal company they should be forced to do anything. I don't know. They don't appear to be losing in court. Yeah, they're Trump support. That doesn't surprise me. They feel like they're within their rights. Magician. Oh, did Robert Blake pass? I didn't know about that. Also anger over them. Tower and the Truth. Hopes and fears. Could be going before the courts, or there could be a case about it. But to be honest with them, you have a right as a company not to sell a product you don't want to sell, right? So I think they cannot be forced, unfortunately, with those cards. It looks like we can't. If they don't want to sell it, they don't. We'll just go somewhere where they sell it, because there's not a lot we can do. Okay, let's do one more. Barbara Wilson has a question here about Ted Cruz. Let's take a look. I do have an air purifier. I'll turn it on. I think this is part of why I wasn't feeling well yesterday. I think I just came down with a virus, but it's partially allergies. Ted Cruz. Saline Ridge, yeah. I took a bath today and I rinsed that way. That can help. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I hope it doesn't get to be as bad as it was last year, because last year it was really bad. I never used to have allergies. He could lose if you get a Democrat in there that talks about the issues that, excuse me, people in his district care about. There is something about legal problems facing Ted Cruz in the future. Evidence maybe that he did some things he shouldn't have been doing during January 6th. He is in some kind of legal trouble. And there is a possibility that his refusal to adapt to changing times in Texas cost him re-election. Yeah. So the takeaway here is that it's very likely if Ted Cruz ran again, he would lose. An inability to move forward with the times and upcoming legal problems could cost him a future election. That's what I would say here. Evidence in court, the Empress with court. Somebody younger, potentially a male, coming after his seat, his fear. Judge Judy, the Queen of Wands, and then refusal to change. A celebration of the women's powers comes. So, yeah, I think it's unlikely that he will win in the future. Ted Cruz, his cards are terrible, and I'd be very curious to know why Ted Cruz comes up with so much legal stuff coming up in the future. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me for Hot Topics. And please forgive me for the cough. Hopefully, I'll be feeling better by Sunday when we get together and have our Sunday show. If you haven't had a chance yet to like, share, and subscribe, it'd be much appreciated. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, if you need to see me as a remote viewer, as a tarot reader, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com, or you can click directly on the Booksy link. Anything else I should be telling you? Oh, yeah, and if you need me to pre-tape a reading through Wizio, I think there's something like $30. I can get that back to you in a couple of days as well. All right. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble. Thank you for hanging with me. I'll see you all soon. Be well, everyone. Love and light.